Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're just going to do another velocity banking review. You know what the great thing about velocity banking is? It's so simple, right? It's just paycheck it to line of credit. You know what the bad thing about velocity banking is? It's so simple and you're trying to teach it in modern society, right? And so what happens in modern society is because we overcomplicate every single little thing, people will be like, well, if it's so great and so simple, why aren't other people doing it? Right? You ever get comments like that? But again, we're not going to follow the herd. We're just going to do simple things like paychecking to line of credit, expenses out, and actually follow through and not overcomplicate things. So before I get started, I just want to go over a comment that I saw on this YouTube channel. So if we take a look here, there's a comment that says, "You are totally correct. I'm a retired banker, and all the businesses and people who need money don't get it." And why do I talk about this? Because a lot of people don't understand who banks lend to. Banks don't lend money to people who need it, right? And so when we're talking about debt management, and people are like, well, how do you do this when you're low income? I'm like, you can, because no one's going to lend you money if you don't have income, right? So this is not about income generation. This is about debt and cash flow management. That's something that we do have to remember. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Here we have what I call a financial stress test. Now, the reason I put the $10,000 income isn't because I'm assuming that you have $10,000 of income. What I'm saying is that if we make a lot of income and we're inefficient with how we manage our money, we have to figure out what the leaks in the roof are, essentially, right? So in order to velocity banking, you only need two things. Number one is a budget. Number two is a line of credit as our main operating account. So here we have income 10 grand. We're at negative $901.16, right? And then how many credit cards do we have? We have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Eight credit cards, a student loan, another student loan. We'll say like this is undergrad, and then we'll say this is like med or law school or something like that. Hopefully, if you got a student loan over $100,000, you're making big bank, and you didn't go to major in under. This is Dave Ramsey's favorite word: underwater basket weaving or underground basket weaving. I forgot which one, but basket weaving, right? And then we got two car loans, and then a $300,000 mortgage, and other stuff, food, gas, insurance. So again, but we're at negative $901 cash flow or savings, right? So, when you're in the negative savings, banks actually kind of like that because that's a big profit center for them. They make a lot of profit. In fact, if you type in Google like how much money did banks make in overdraft fees, it's over 5 billion in 2023. 5 billion. All right, so now we have our budget, and that's actually $658,000, not in credit card debt, but in debt in general, including mortgage, student loans. And so now what we got to do is we're going to figure out, what to do with all the $658,000 of debt. And within that $658,000 of debt, you have $137,000 of dollars of credit card debt. So we have the budget. It's really easy. The most important thing is that when you do an expense breakdown, you have to list all your debt because this is a debt elimination strategy. That's really what it is. And then number two, we need a line of credit as our main operating account, right? So a line of credit, what is it? It's a financial tool where you could borrow money, put it back, and use it over and over again. So credit card is a line of credit, a home equity line of credit is a line of credit, a personal line of credit is a line of credit. Here's a hint: if it has the term line of credit in the name, it's a line of credit. But most people don't know that credit cards are a line of credit too, or a form of a line of credit. But they're not as flexible as a personal home equity. And we're going to assume that we have a $200,000 home equity line of credit. All that means is that you're putting your home equity as collateral, and they're kind of giving you like a really big credit card, right? The more equity you have, the more of a credit card you essentially get. And everybody's got to live in a house, right? So, so you can either own the house, hopefully buy it at a discount, and then you could use it as a giant credit card. All right, so now let's go ahead and get started, and we're just going to assume that we have the same income, right? Same income, and then we have no savings. So instead of doing it the average American way, where we use our checking account as our main operating account, we got no savings, right? And it's whether we have positive or negative savings, we're in the end we're just going to zero, right? All right, so let's go ahead and do this, and let's copy the expenses, and then we're just gonna re-engineer our finances, but right now we're going to calculate our cash flow, which is essentially the same formula as savings. But the reason why we do this is to show you how we can increase this number. But in order to increase this number, our savings account has to be zero after every single month. I'm not going to save any money. What do I need to save money for? And you know, you've seen this in many other videos about like saving money, saving $1,000, doing it the Dave Ramsey way, you know, and you have all this debt. Like, it's actually going to probably be more harmful. Now, all right, so we're at negative $901 in cash flow. Now we just got to do the final step. And what's the final step is to use our line of credit as our main operating account. You see, the difference between the average American and velocity banker, given the same income, is that the average American uses their checking account as their main operating account, whereas a velocity banker uses the line of credit as your main operating account. All right, let's go ahead and switch it up. Let's go ahead and switch it up. So what we're going to do is just start out with the credit cards. The credit cards is the easiest to go ahead and move that debt into the line of credit. And we're just simply making a debt transfer. So if we add up all these credit card balances, right, it's $137,000 of credit card debt. So let's go ahead and do this and just do a debt transfer. Okay, so we have not, let me make this clear. We have not eliminated the debt. We just simply transferred it, right? But what happens when we simply transfer the debt? Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. 0, 0, 0, 0, right? 0, 0, 0, 0, okay? And then what happened here? We went from negative $901 to 3,500. Oh my goodness, this is so easy. Like, how easy is that? Isn't that crazy? We went from negative $901, where and here's the funny thing. There's a person in real life who sent me their numbers. I was kind of like this, right? Negative $901 to 3,500 without making more money. And this is the most important part, without making more money. Now, and I know a lot of people are looking at this like, well, who would have an empty line of credit available like that? Or and the answer is nobody, right? Because most people only try to get credit when you need it. And remember that first comment at the beginning of the video, like, banks don't lend money to people who need it. There was that retired banker who wrote that comment. They know, I know the secret. Somebody taught it to me a long time ago, like 2018 or 2017. And I remember this business credit, I want to call her coach, or I don't know if that was her official title. She just kept honing it in. Like, banks don't lend money to people who need it. And that's why myself, I just got a ton of, well, I really got to delete these pictures. I don't know why I got this. But I got a ton of credit available because I got it before I ever needed it. You know, 15 grand in personal line. I got 50 grand home equity. I got all of it. I have over $287,000 in lines of credit. So, all right. So let's go ahead and calculate the payoff. So what we do is we calculate the next month, which is the previous month's plus one. We're going to calculate the next month's balance, which is the previous month's balance plus the previous month's interest minus our cash flow, right, which is 3541. So let's go ahead and type this in, 3549.67, not 41. All right. So now we see it go down every single month. And let me actually write the actual velocity banking strategy. Your entire paycheck goes into a line of credit. Your expenses come out of line of credit. You see how simple that is? And everybody just like overcomplicates it. And, you know, like, all it is a click on a bank's website. You know what I'm saying? So your balance goes down by 3,500 after every single month. 3,500 going down, right? 3,500. And we're going to pay all this credit card debt off. And so let's go ahead and do this. And what we're doing is calculate the interest, which is based on the average daily balance. So we'll multiply it by 0.1, which is the interest rate, 10%. And then you divide by 12, all right? And then now let's go ahead and pay it off and see how long it takes to pay it off, right? And now it's going down, 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 down. And we see that in 47 months, we paid off how much? $137,000. Now, I know why most people are hesitant towards the strategy is because they feel like from social conditioning that we need savings. Oh my goodness, don't we need savings? Well, how are you going to effectively pay down your debt if you got savings? right? This is why we got the line of credit. And so this savings right here is actually just the available limit minus the balance that you have. And so if you're going outside of your budget, right, this is what your savings is for. And all it will do is just essentially eliminate, or not eliminate, delay the debt payoff, right? But your savings is essentially growing, but you just expect, hey, after about every single month, you have $2,500 expenses, right? And so now we're here, okay? Now we're here, and what we got to do is tackle on the next debt, right? We're going to tackle on the next debt at month 47, okay? So let's just go up here and write down our milestone, all right? So month 47, and how much debt was that? That was 100. So it'll say 47 months, and how much debt did we tackle? Which is $137,000 of debt, right? 137,000. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy and paste this. All right. And then now, you might be confused like, well, do I tackle the student loan, the auto loan, or I got two auto loans, two cars, right? And you got this nice, we'll call it a med school loan. I don't know. Maybe you're a doctor. This is a doctor's budget, right? Hopefully. All right. So, but maybe would the doctor really go for the $300,000 house? I don't know. I or the 300. Well, if it's a $300,000 loan, probably a $400,000 house. All right, so in the two cars, and all right, now let's go ahead and figure out which one do we pay off, because again, this is where people get tripped up, right? Do I focus on the student loan, auto loan, the mortgage? I've had people thinking that it's a good idea to pay the mortgage first, but you got to pay the mortgage last, right? We got to pay the mortgage last, because here's the thing. Let's just do a comparison of these two. Would you pay $135,000 to get $1,300 back, or $300,000 to get $1,200 back, right? We definitely want to pay off the debt that gives us the most cash flow, right? And we have something called the cash flow index to help us do that, right? So let's go ahead, and this is my loan calculator that I created that you can easily use with Excel functions. So there's a way to calculate the payment based on the loan terms, and then also the latest balance based on the loan terms. So PMT, and then this one's like FV, future value. I'm not going to explain it here, but I do resell courses that teach you that. All right, so let's go ahead. Oh, it's the wrong spreadsheet. And figure out which one to pay off. So this was 47 months. So all we got to do is type in 47 here on all of them, actually. Okay. And then this actually gives us the current balance of the loans. And what we want to do is just pay off the ones that give us the most cash flow. And here's the thing. This is like a ranking system, but I'm really excited because like we got these two loans that could just be wiped out with our line of credit, and we're going to get about $800 in cash flow back. You see that? $800 in cash flow. Wow, that's crazy. And the reason why we're paying this off first is because if we pay off 10,000, we get about $800 back rather than paying off this 26 grand. So we're thinking about the big picture here. Okay? So let's go ahead, and how much is this? So let's go ahead and sum it up, which is G2 plus G3. So 11 grand. So let's do this. 11 grand 215.26. And I'm going to do this right here. All right. So let's paste the values. So we're going to just type that in. It's easier to type it in than copy and paste. So 11215.26. Okay. And then for paying off that, or just paying off that 11 grand, what happens to our two car loans? Okay. So this is going to be 0. This is going to be 0, right? And then now what's our new cash flow? It's 4444.12. So let's put that in as our new cash flow. All right. So minus 4444.12. Is that right? Let me just check one more time. Yeah. All right. Okay, so now that car loan was paid off in 2 months, so let's go ahead and record that right here. And now let's do this, which is 50 months. 50 months. So now 50 months. And actually, it's not this one. It's this one right here. And so let me just calculate 137 plus 24 plus 22. And that's 183K. Okay, so what's 50 divided by 12? That's about 4 years. 4 years, we got 183K. All right, so now what we got to do is now let's take a look at what our loan balance is at 50 months, right? So we paid these off. These are good, right? And then now let's do this 50, 50, 50. Okay, so let's go ahead and tackle on this student loan, right? That's the next loan we're going to tackle. Now, again, there's various factors to determine whether we're going to put the loan into the line of credit. It's always safer just to do what we call chunking, which is split it up in pieces with amortized loans, especially if the loan interest rate is much lower than the line of credit, which it will be 99% of the time unless you're in an intro rate. But because we make so much income and we got a lot of cash flow right now, I don't think it's going to really be that big of a deal to move the entire thing into a loan. Although theoretically, you will pay more, like 100 or a couple $100 more in interest, or 100, 200, in my experience. But let's go ahead and move that. So 25 grand, and then we're just going to move that right here. Okay. So let me copy and paste this. So we're going to move that 25 grand, 25713.31. Goodbye, undergrad loans, right? All right, so let's go ahead and do that. And student loan is gone. And now it's 4868.38. So let's go ahead and do that. And right here, and this one will be 4868 point something. Hold on. 4868.38. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. And we see in 55 months, undergrad loan completely gone. All right. So now 55 months. So let me do this. 55 months. All right, and then it's 183 plus 40, so that'll be 223, I think. 183 plus 40, 223K. All right, and then so now we're at 55 months, so we got rid of that. Now we get rid of this one here, and then 55, 55. Again, just to emphasize a cash flow index, I pay 79 grand to get $1,300 back, or would I pay 269 grand to get 1264 back, right? And you'll notice that the cash flow index ignores the interest rate because it's a formula of the balance divided by the payment, right? That's what it is. Okay, so now we probably should do chunking. Um, for this, but again, maybe for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm just going to be lazy. But I'm going to show you the difference between doing the chunking method, or splitting the loan out into pieces into your line of credit, versus replacing your entire thing, or loan with the line of credit, with the mortgage, because that's the one we really have to be careful about, right? Too many people, they hear advice on the internet, oh, just replace your mortgage with the line of credit, without actually just doing the numbers. And the mortgage is the one we always want to attack last. But not only that, if we do it incorrectly, we'll end up paying more in interest than if we just stuck with the 30-year amortized loan. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do this. And so let's just go ahead and move this into the line of credit. So 79 grand. And again, this probably is not maybe the most optimal to move that entire 79 grand into the line of credit, but we'll demonstrate that with the mortgage. But I'm just saying that um, that the basic principle, the strategy is the same, But I probably wouldn't move the student loan into the line of credit, even though I'm just showing and it's kind of because I want to just get through this thing. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. And then now we've done that. Let's see how long it takes to pay it off. And then our new cash flow is about 6 grand, 6235.19. 6235.19. So let's go ahead and do that. 6235.19. All right. So let's go here. Yeah, 6235.19. And then let's go ahead and pay that sucker off. How long? Okay, 69 months. So 69 months. All right, so 69 months. And then how much is this? This is 223 plus 135. So 358K. Okay. So now the last one we're going to tackle is the mortgage, right? And let's see what the balance of the mortgage is at this time. So we get rid of. Wait a minute. Did I even do this right? I always screw up this part. Oh, wait. No, I didn't do that. Okay. So this is now going to be 69. Haha, 69. Anyways, so $261,000. That's the balance. Okay. And so should we replace it with the line of credit, or should we do split it up into little pieces, right? And splitting it up into little pieces is always the safer option regardless of the interest rate. It's always this, almost always the safer option unless the interest rate of the line of credit is actually lower or equal than the mortgage, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this and $261,000. Okay, so let me go ahead and open up what we call the velocity banking calculator. And let's switch windows. And so what is the purpose of this calculator is because we're going to actually show with math what the difference is between what we call chunking or moving pieces of the loan into the line of credit versus just replacing the entire thing with the line of credit, right? So let's go ahead and fill in the information right here. And this is 10%. Okay. All right. So let's do this. And this is a 30-year loan at, okay, original balance is 30000. And what's the current balance right now? Let me just check. It is 261,282.82. 261,282.82, right? And then this is 3% at 30 years. Okay. And then the payment amount is 1264.81. And our income is 10,000. And let me go back here. And what is our expenses? It's everything except for the loan we're trying to pay off, so it's 2,500. And you might be wondering, where did I get this cool calculator from? It's actually from Renatus, where I originally learned velocity banking from in 2017, right? So I actually am an independent contractor marketer, meaning I resell their products and get a commission. So if you want this cool calculator, you got to actually register for Renatus, which I do sell. But if you don't register, what do I care? I got my mortgage paid off in 3 years, but I will make a nice little dandy commission if you do decide to register. Anyways, so let's go ahead and do this. So let's demonstrate two things. Number one, what happens if we replace our line of credit with a 10% mortgage? I'm not a line of credit, our loan with a 10% line of credit, right? Because you might have heard on the internet, oh, loans bad, line of credit good. So 261,282.82. No, I screwed up. 261,282.82. So if I replace the entire thing with a line of credit, how much do I save and how fast is it going to take me? So let's go ahead and do that. So 3.5 years, which is really good. We sped up the process, 3.5 years, because we got a lot of income. Now, let's just kind of record this. So replace mortgage is going to be 3.5 years, or not 6 years, 5 years, and then 49K of interest. Okay, that's what replacing our mortgage is going to do. Now, if we do, instead of replacing our entire mortgage with the line of credit, we just do little chunks. So, for example, $10,000 chunks. Look at that, 3.1 years chunking. So 3.1 years and 14K interest, right? So this is what I mean that chunking in general is always safer. Now, like I said before, if the line of credit interest rate is actually, so let me just do this, 261,282.82, okay, is actually lower or equal to the line of credit, so this is 3%, we see that yeah, it's almost about the same, right? So this is why you never in general have to be too worried about the interest rates, right? Unless you're replacing the entire thing with the line of credit. You see that? So even though I had a 10% line of credit and I was doing only $10,000 chunks, the result is pretty much comparable. It's almost the same with a 3% line of credit, which almost nobody will ever get, right? Like who gets a 3% line of credit unless it's an introductory rate, right? But if you do $10,000 chunks, 10,000, and if it's right, so it's like $10,000 or versus the whole thing is the same result, but this doesn't even, the interest rate is like barely affects it. It affects it, but it barely affects it. And if I have a 30% credit card, yeah, okay. But it's still actually cheaper to use a 30% credit card than to replace your mortgage with a 10% line of credit. And some people are like, well, does the calculator really account for this? Yes, because here the loan balance is $261,000. And then we say here, let's replace it with the line of credit 261,282.82. Okay. And actually, we lose money if it's 30%. Let's just do 10%. Or 10%. Then we see that now the line of credit balance is $261,000, and it takes into account the balance of the balance. I'm sorry, not the payment is accounted for here, right? So the system knows, hey, the loan balance is gone, and now we have the line of credit balance we have to take care of, and it's actually not the most beneficial to replace your line of credit or mortgage with the line of credit, right? So something we have to be aware of. Okay, well that's it for today, everybody. So another Velocity Banking review. So the biggest issue that you'll probably have is like you want your friends to do it and you explain it to them and they'll be like, well, if it's so stupid, so simple, why aren't other people doing it, right? All right. Well, that's it for today. I'm a little sleepy. It's actually like 6:30 a.m. right now, but my body just woke up and I figure, you know what? I just will crank out a video before I start today. So have a great day and we'll speak next time. Screen Atlanta Mentorship.